Very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinya, and I'm glad that you're here with us for these conversations. I'm joined by Wakili Willis Otieno. Wakili, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Yes.
We are looking at a very tricky situation in the country. Of course, the report on what actually costed the country, the life of its general. Remember, General Ogola was the chief of the defense forces of this particular country at that time, has been released. The people who are saying here that there may be some sort of hidden stuff within that the country is not being told. But at the same time, we've received stern warning from the president telling us not to drag the military into politics. And therefore, it's like the Kenyans should actually keep off having these conversations about all this. This is also happening. Definitely, the security situation in the country is not good. But at the same time, our soldiers are not really our soldiers, but our police officers are still in Haiti, even after we lost 2 of them. Let's have the conversation here. What's the danger in having these conversations?
There's no danger in having this kind of conversation. Article 10 of our Constitution indicates amongst the principles of governance
Yes.
include transparency and accountability. Transparency connotes that you do everything in an open manner. Accountability, on the other hand, connotes that you are able to explain, you are able to walk people through any issue that they have an interest in. And it must be in the national interest for us to know what happened to our general. Because our general was the KDF, which is the National Defense Forces. And if he falls off a chopper and he loses his life, then the people have a right to know exactly what transpired and what measures have been taken to make sure that we do not have that kind of an issue occurring in the country.
Okay.
That is within the confines of our Constitution. So they must be transparent and they must be accountable. Give a satisfactory explanation as to what transpired. And if in the course of that transparent and accountable quest, you find that there were persons who are culpable, then lawful action is taken against them. And also, you'll have administrative recommendations on what needs to be done going forward so that we do not have a recurrence of such an unfortunate event. So in making such kind of demands, it doesn't mean that you're politicizing anything. It simply means that you are living true to the provisions of our Constitution, the principles of governance and the national values, which include transparency and accountability. Kenya Kwanza and William Ruto seems to have a problem with the terms transparency and accountability. But those are values and principles in our Constitution. They just have to learn to live with it.
Okay, so what do you make of that particular report that was given? Do you share the same kind of feelings and ideas of people who are saying, look, we are still not yet convinced by this particular report? Was it conclusive for you?
You know, to the extent that the report is not addressing the core issues, then the report is not conclusive. And if somebody, any Kenyan for that matter, demands that they want a comprehensive report and investigations of what happened, then it is owed to the Kenyan people that that is done. You don't just write a report for the sake of writing a report. That report must address all the fears and investigate all the angles. What are some of the theories that have been spewed out here in relation to that mishap? Kenyan people need to know. It's now almost 1 year since we lost the general. And in his honor, the least the state can do is to make sure that we get to the real bottom of what transpired and come up with a comprehensive report that addresses all concerns. Nobody is saying that they have the information as to what transpired, but that is the purpose of investigations, to unveil and to reveal to you exactly what transpired. And more importantly, to come up with recommendations and measures that should be put in place to ensure that we do not have a repeat of that recurring in the future. That is not asking too much of anybody. That is being done for the sole purpose of ensuring that our officers, our men in uniform, are properly protected.
Okay, so what then do you make of the president's kind of, I don't know whether to call them threats or what, but then as he was talking, was telling the country to actually leave the those in the uniform actually alone, and telling the country here that he's willing to go to whichever extent just to protect the military and will do whatever it takes. I wonder, what protection does our military need actually from the civilians at this point?
The only protection that our military needs is to uphold the Constitution. That's the ultimate protection that they deserve. And part of that Constitution is the question of transparency and accountability. So if you say, give us a comprehensive report that addresses all these questions,
Yes.
be transparent about it, be accountable to the people, answer to the people as to what actually happened. And nobody will ask this question. And it is far-fetched for him to say that the Kenyan people, some people who are raising these issues, are politicizing it. There is no politics in demanding for the respect of the Constitution. There is no politics in demanding for accountability and transparency. It is politics when you try to hide, when you want to act in a manner that is not accountable to the people. And so, the purported protection of our military is not worth it. They don't deserve it, as is purporting. They are already protecting our Constitution. And demanding for the constitutional dictates that applies to them to be applied in regard to this chopper mishap is not in any way putting our military in danger. It is purely a case where we want to see that our military and even the Kenyan gets the best out of the Constitution and the state.
Look at this. We are witnessing a situation whereby the other time we saw the CDF speak, and there was that general feeling from the public that the military, now that the CDF is the one who spoke, was kind of encroaching into the civilian space. At the same time, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga made some statement back then that he saved actually the current President William Ruto from a possible military coup, let me say so, something of the sort. And then we also saw that reply from the military. And now the President is actually bringing us into this kind of conversation. Now, this actually raises a lot of questions, and as we head towards the 2027 elections, why all of a sudden are we witnessing all these manner of shenanigans with the military getting involved?
Of course, some politicians may want to use the military as scarecrow, scare Kenyans that if this happens, the military will take over. I don't believe that there's been any attempt by the military to take over. They have not even shown the slightest of interest in leading a coup. And if that had happened, I'm sure the law enforcement agencies will have taken action. No such thing has happened. So this is just political scaremongering. There has been no attempt at all from our military to take over. And they're not interested, if you ask me, because we've not seen any attempt, at least since 1982. So these are just politicians trying to scaremonger members of the public that there'll be a military coup. But then also, they try to use the military to scare civilians from demanding what is actually their right in the Constitution. So when you get men in uniform to come and talk about you must stop saying Ruto must go, that's political sloganeering. And the military have no role in championing or condemning the use of those political slogans. That is not within their purview. That is within the parameter of our politics, civilian politics. And why would they ask the military men to stop? So they thought maybe the military, if they say it, then that will scare Kenyans from saying Ruto must go. Ruto must go is a clarion call shared by majority Kenyans. And it is their right to say it. Just like the right of those who are saying Ruto must go Kumi bila break. It's their right. So every side have a right to express themselves on political issues the way they want.
Okay.
What is not permissible is to bring the voice of the military in support or in opposition. Their voices are not permitted in this kind of political campaign and sloganeering. That is what all of us have a duty to protect, so that we keep them and we give them their dignity and we preserve their space in the barracks and to protect the borders of this nation.
The Commander-in-Chief has spoken, and of course is in charge of the military as it is right now. We are actually wondering how thin is the line between the defense forces, the presidency, and the president. How then should we handle these things so that at the end of the day we actually know that the military should only be loyal to the presidency and not to the president?
The delineation is in the Constitution. The ultimate loyalty to the Republic is loyalty to our constitution, not an individual.
Okay.
And even the president, they are only loyal to him in as far as the constitution makes him the president. So ultimate loyalty vests in the constitution and the republic, not individuals. And that is a very clear demarcation. And an understanding of our constitution will show you how to demarcate that loyalty. So you cannot say that if the president is doing something unconstitutional, then you demand that the military remains loyal to the president as a person, not to the constitution. Their loyalty to the president is via the constitution. It is the constitution that makes him president. It's the constitution that establishes the military. And everybody has ascribed to abide by, to protect, and to defend our constitution. So it is my view that the ultimate loyalty test in this country is loyalty to the constitution and fidelity to the rule of law. That is the only point that everybody needs to canvass. Not that you look at individuals and you pledge your loyalty to an individual. No. You pledge your loyalty to the constitution and the people of Kenya, not an individual.
So how then would we tell that at this point in time, the men in uniform are not being loyal to an individual?
As I've told you, the loyalty is to the constitution.
Okay.
So if the individual acts contrary to the constitution, should he demand loyalty? If Ruto, for example, decides to suspend the constitution, should he demand loyalty of our military? It's the constitution that makes him president. So loyalty to him is ascribed in the constitution. But the ultimate loyalty, even the oath of office that all state officers take, is loyalty to the constitution and the people of Kenya, the Republic of Kenya, not to individuals. The loyalty pledged to the president ended during the Moi days. That is when people used to pledge loyalty to the president of the Republic of Kenya. It doesn't exist anymore. Now we pledge loyalty to the constitution and the people of Kenya, not to the president. That is what we pledge. That's the oath that the Kenyan people take when they assume public office. Not to an individual. It's to the constitution. And our military are men and women of valor who understand that demarcation. They don't need to be told by a politician that they pledge loyalty to an individual. We are past that.
We are past that, but we've already dragged the military into our political kind of conversations, and that is actually when we hear the president comment on such, then Kenyans would be drawn towards that kind of conversation, and we're like, what is it that is happening here now?
I'm explaining to you that you will wish to use the military as scarecrow to scare Kenyans who are saying Ruto must go. But that attempt will fail because the sloganeering is supported by the constitution.
Okay, so what you're saying here is that this may seem like a plot to scare Kenyans.
It's purely a plot to scare Kenyans. Try to bring the men in uniform to their faces so that they get scared and stop saying it. But the response from the Kenyan people was fast and furious. Yeah, they told the military, stick to your lane.
Okay.
We know our politics. We'll play our politics. We don't want the military to get marked in this political mud.
Okay.
That Oscar Sudis and Kimani Ichung'was are experts in. We want them to remain and maintain their dignity and prestige in service to the nation.
Now, at the beginning, at the introduction of this particular show, I remember we said here that at the same time, because we are actually looking at matters of national security here, we are having problems in this country. And of course, if at all anything is to be believed from that particular report, conclusive or inconclusive as it may be, then we would then conclude that the choppers that we are looking at here and having as a country may be some sort of flying coffins, so to say. But then, as this is happening, the president has decided that our police officers will still stay in a foreign land while we are having problems here with our own systems within. How better can we actually handle these things so that we get our priorities right and get things done the right way?
You know, as we said from the beginning, what's our interest in Haiti? We have no single interest in Haiti as a country. Why should we have police officers deployed to Haiti? Look what is happening now. One officer is yet to be even recovered. No one knows what happened to him. He may have been killed based on the videos that were shared online, but the body is yet to be recovered. We lost one officer, may his soul rest in peace, has now been buried. To what end? One life is one life too painful. It's too much. You are not able to identify or to discern what is our national interest in Haiti that supports that deployment. It does not support any national interest of the people of Kenya. And we need to focus on our own local issues. We are now spending colossal sums of money to maintain that mission when we do not have adequate funding to our university students, when we don't have enough funds to run our healthcare system. Yet you are busy meddling your nose in other people's issues. Allow the Haitians to solve their issues as Haitians without the meddling noses of the people of Kenya. It is high time that our police officers who are in Haiti are deployed back into the country to focus on law and order in this country, not in Haiti. And the Haitians also have expressed themselves on this question. They've said they are fighting for their liberation. They are trying to create a society that is going to work for Haitians. Allow them to do it. Why do you want to meddle? They are a country that has got independence way longer than Kenya before. So they understand those local issues in Haiti better than Kenyans do. But to deploy our officers and to use colossal sums of money to maintain that mission, you are depriving Kenyans of what they desire, what they need. The state is not working now in the best interest of the people of Kenya because we have no known national interest. Not even a single toothpick moves from Kenya to Haiti as a trade. We sell not a single item in Haiti. Why should we deploy and spend money in meddling in the affairs of that country? Focus on security in Kenya, not in Haiti. But that is Kenya Kwanza for you.
Up to this moment, are you convinced that it is purely the public money here that is being spent abroad?
Whose money is being spent if not public money? The Auditor General already flagged that we had to pay almost 1.8 billion towards that mission. Then the Treasury mandarins claim that they are going to claim it from the UN. Have they shown us proof that they've gotten the money from the UN to sustain the mission? They have not. So, it's Kenyan money that is being used to support the mission. Why? To what end? The other missions across the globe that the UN has deployed, even here in South Sudan, we don't see the donating countries spending their money and claiming a reimbursement. It's the UN that covers the cost from inception to the end. Why is this one special? So we have no interest, and we are spending our money on a mission that makes no sense to the people of Kenya. We don't want it. We don't need it. The Haitians themselves don't need it. So what are we doing there? Where are we meeting the cost, footing that bill? It's not in our interest. We're just now meddling Thomases. Come back and protect the nation, the Republic of Kenya, not meddle in the affairs of another sovereign state. That is Kenya Kwanza for you.
And of course, that colossal amount of money that is being spent over there can as well be deployed into buying better equipment for our military here so that they actually do their work best. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a conversation on the state of our security in this country. You've heard those sentiments from President William Ruto. Weigh in and tell us whether you think that the president was actually right in what he said. Allow me to stop for now till we have this conversation.